I'm gonna need to drink for this one. No coffee, nothing strong, just coffee and creamer, hazelnut creamer. So the world's biggest podcaster, Joe Rogan, is in hot water. And there are groups of people out there that want to see him canceled. I don't care about him being canceled. Like, that's not my concern. By the way, New York City is what you'll hear. And I know people are upset hearing his words, right? And I watched a video with him using the N-word. I was like, ouch. It's pretty bad. But that video is not as bad than the video I saw of him sharing the story about him going into a movie theater in a black neighborhood and equating that as being in Africa and being in Planet of the Apes. In the interview, in the podcast he was doing, he was talking about going to see the Planet of the Apes, right? And it was leading him, I guess an iPhone app or whatever, led him and a couple of friends to a theater in a black neighborhood. And when he walked in, he said, wow, we really are in the Planet of the Apes, referring to all the black people that was in the movie theater. He said there was no white people around, so he was in the Planet of the Apes. Now that was far worse, and he made a joke about it. Now, I'm going to talk to you guys about the lesson that we need to learn from this, okay? A real honest lesson, all right? He acknowledged that it was a racist comment and laughed about it in the same video. I'll probably put the clip in this video, but he really went in on going to see the Planet of the Apes and then actually being in the Planet of the Apes because he went to a movie theater that was in a black neighborhood and the majority of the people, if not all of the people in the movie theater, was black. That's a racist statement. Whether you joking or not, that's a racist statement. But here's the thing, okay? Let me offer the other side to that. He made that statement because of conditional racism that people don't think they're conditioned to be, and two, implicit bias, right? He in the video he referenced it being a bad neighborhood, and let's be honest, some white people will not want to walk through or go through a black neighborhood because of what they perceive it to be like, because they have developed implicit bias, not based off experience, but implicit bias based on what they've seen and what they've heard, what media tells them, right? Is crime written and all that stuff in it? No, it's not always the case. Right now, I live in a black, mostly black community. It's a middle class community, and everybody's homeowners, right? But and it's a black community, I guess you would consider it. But the flip side of this is this, right? Everyone experiences some implicit bias, right? Either they've been conditioned to think that way, or they've had certain experiences that guide them to believe that way. For instance, I'll give you an example. Till this day, I get nervous walking through predominantly white neighborhoods. I do. It's uneasy for me. The reason why, I've been put in a hospital because I was assaulted for being a black man in a white school after hours playing basketball. I've walked through neighborhoods in Staten Island and have been called the N-word. Just people shouting out the N-word just because I'm walking through it, right? And one night I was in high school, right? Walking after basketball practice. It's pitch black, wintertime, and I'm walking to the train station by myself. And there was a group of white kids sitting by this store. And they saw me walking by, and all I heard was N-words and F you and go back, with all that stuff. And I'm walking to the train station, and I'm by myself in this train station. These dudes could have came, beat me up, killed me, or whatever, right? So till this day, I'll walk through any neighborhood, white, black, whatever. But when I go through a white neighborhood, my antennas are up, and I'm slightly on edge. We all experience explicit bias, whether it's through experiences or whether it's through the experience of others or what media tells us. And when Joe Rogan sharing a joke like this, this is a couple of years ago, where he's referring to black people as apes, that's conditional, right? The thing about that is this, right? And I'm asking this question, and some of you guys can be honest. When you're in your living room with your family and friends, right, and you refer to people of a different race, do you use terms that if they heard it themselves, they'll be offended by it? Right? You have to ask yourself that question, right? And you have to think, well, wow, it was pretty bad. And Joe Rogan himself admitted that it was pretty bad because in the same conversation, after he said what he said about black people and apes, right? He was like, yeah, that was a pretty racist thing to say. So he knew it. He knew it. Like, it was racist, right? But here's the thing. Everybody has some sort of bias that they have been conditioned or experienced to think. So I look at Joe Rogan as everybody else. I don't think he should be canceled, but I think people like this should be educated very much. Like even the situation with Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg said something that was pretty ignorant about Jewish people and race. Like pretty ignorant, right? The whole purpose of Hitler doing what he did to the Jews, right, in that area, was to weed out and kill off, in essence, genocide, an entire race of people. So we really gotta, and I know people get very uneasy about talking about race. I don't mind because God created a beautiful array and a beautiful, variety of people that we can share each other's cultures and celebrate each other's cultures and acknowledge and enjoy each other's differences. Not to think that me and my race and my culture and my experience is much better than yours. So I don't mind talking about race because when I do, it's to get us to be able to appreciate everybody's differences, everybody's cultural and genetic or, differences. Let's celebrate it, right? So next time Joe Rogan goes into a movie theater, and it could be people that are predominantly Native American, he's not going to feel like, John Wayne walking into a movie theater and saying something stupid like him being a cowboy and, and he's around Indians. Like, we have to be able to celebrate each other's differences, celebrate each other's cultural ethnicities and all that stuff, and keep it moving. And not try to come up with jokes, because when you come up with jokes like that, you're pretty much saying, I'm better than you, so I can joke about it. And it's stupid. It's stupid. So Joe Rogan probably never going to watch this video. But when you go to a movie theater surrounded by people that don't look like you specifically, celebrate it. Learn. Enjoy the time. All right? Don't look for a derogatory name to refer to the people that you're around, because that's racist. I'm out. Peace.